we got some breaking news in the influencer boxing scene. We found out the reason for KSI's cancellation of the 2v1 match. We now have an official explanation for why the 2v1 has now officially been canceled. KSI versus Slim and AT is no longer happening in Dublin, Ireland on August 31st. And I'm just going to read what KSI wrote, because KSI is the one that now has confirmed it. He says, "Hey everyone, I have some important news to share, and I wanted you to hear it directly from me. The fight with Slim and AT is off. I have been battling with an injury." And then he puts in parentheses, "not my toe," which is a clear shot at Conor McGregor, like, oh, I didn't stub my toe. "Not my toe, LOL. Since I began training for this fight, and unfortunately, this has worsened during camp, which is why you haven't seen any of my usual enthusiasm. Despite my best efforts to push through the pain, it has reached a point where I can no longer spar or even hit pads or do bag work. On my doctor's orders, I've been advised to withdraw from Misfit 17 at the 3 Arena in Dublin on August 31st. All right, let's pause for a second. So KSI has an injury. He doesn't say what there. I don't know if this is a reliable source, but I didn't listen to the Twitter space, so I'm hoping that this is reliable. If it's not, then ignore it. They said, "You ignored the fact that Mam said it didn't hinder his performance because he had injections that took the pain away, or took away the pain, but over time they stopped having that effect." The only reason I bring all of this to you is because that seems like an injury that they had leading into the Tommy Fury fight, in which he was getting what I would assume are called cortisone injections or corticosteroid injections, which are essentially liquid steroids, not what you're thinking anabolic. If you're going to have surgery, they give you a cortisone injection to see if it can promote healing to an inflamed area, or, you know, dissipate the pain so that your brain shuts off the receptors thinking that there is an issue or there may not be one. So that makes sense. The only issue I have is if you knew KSI was injured, why would you book him in a fight? Doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Maybe they thought he could push through it. Obviously, that wasn't the case. So first and foremost, I will say, you know, JJ, whatever the injury is, and I'm going to give my thoughts on what I think it may be, heal up. Obviously, no one wants to get injured, so it's not something that he planned. And pulling out due to injury it's the nature of the beast in combat sports. And again, the influencer boxing scene is not privy to this information. You guys are very new to the sport of boxing and MMA and other combat sports, so when you hear pull out, you think someone was scared or, you know, XYZ. In most cases, if cortisone injections stop working, you may need surgical repair. I'm not saying that's the case with KSI. I don't know. But for me, I had so many cortisone injections into my knee that it actually, I don't want to be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure it can have an effect on the actual structure of your tendons and start to weaken them over time to the point where they may potentially tear. Or, you know, it's just not good to have continuous cortisone injections into your body. I tend to think this would be a shoulder injury, right? When you're talking about having injections to, you know, numb the pain or have it be a little bit easier. It's either, in my opinion, it's either a shoulder or a hand for JJ. Like hand, wrist, potentially, like in that, you know. And the reason I say that is because he's saying hitting pads is impossible to do. Sparring and hitting pads is impossible to do. So it's either contact he's making with his hand and the wrist being an issue. I would assume potentially some ligaments being in there. Like, you don't really give someone a cortisone injection for a broken bone. So some ligament issues in his hand or tendon issues in his hand, or maybe his elbow, some tendonitis there, or a shoulder, right? A shoulder would make a lot of sense too. So those three things, I think, is probably either hand, wrist area, elbow, shoulder, and I want to lean towards shoulder just again because that's a major part of your body where I think you could probably get away with wrapping the wrist a little tighter and doing some things. Maybe not. I think it's one of those three. As we continue on with this tweet, I know this might be disappointing for many of you, and I hate letting you down. However, I will be taking some time out to rest so I can get back into the ring as soon as possible. Rest assured, I'll be back soon, fitter, stronger, and healthier, and ready for any challenge. Now, again, I don't know. Rest can obviously fix a lot of things, but if he's having failed cortisone injections over and over, like it's getting less and less helpful, he may need to go and do some physical therapy and, you know, worst case scenario, go and have some surgery. So I don't know how quickly he's going to be able to come back from this. And if he is able to come back quickly, that wouldn't make a ton of sense either. So I think he probably would be on the shelf for at least 3 to 4 months here. You would think maybe toward the end of the year, first of next year. Regardless, it's the right idea to really shut everything down for a bit, just a bit. You know, again, tendon issues tend to be, no pun intended, I said it again, something that you want to end up, you know, like starting to rehab and put your tendon under load, pause, just to get back into the swing of things. Like, too much rest can actually be a deterrent, so we'll see how he handles it. But yeah, I would say 3 to 4 months to fully make the climb back, or whatever the issue is. And then he goes on to say, for now, I apologize to the fans, my opponents, and everyone involved who might feel let down by the decision. I give 100% in everything I do, and this is not a decision I have taken lightly. I am aware of the lengths that people will have gone to see me fight in Ireland, and I'm sorry to have let you all down. Thanks for continuing to support me in everything I do, and I promise I'll make it up to you all. A huge thank you to the fans for riding with me through thick and thin. Thank you to my team in DAZN for their unwavering support. I mean, this is clear on statement, you know. I don't think I've ever heard JJ say the word unwavering. But again, you know, he kind of has to say this stuff. But then we get to the good stuff. The event will still go ahead. Misfits 17 marks our 2-year anniversary, so we'll make sure it's special. In addition to the fights, I'll be commentating and performing some of my new songs with some exciting surprises. Oh, the old surprise, surprise. I'm not a big fan of the, you know, promising surprises thing, but in this case, you kind of have to, because not only did I find out that this is going to go on, which JJ says here, this is still going to be a pay-per-view event. And you kind of had to keep JJ around it in some fashion just to give people, I mean, I hate to say it this way, a reason to buy the pay-per-view. So him performing, again, I'll say this, if he's up there dancing around and jumping and stuff, it's not going to be a great look for the old, you know, the injury, but do what you can, you know, do what you can with whatever injury you have, and it will be at least something to give the people a reason to buy or a reason to keep if they already have bought. And is unhappy with these changes, refunds can be requested via your original point of purchase. To the rest of you, I can't wait to see you there and celebrate this special occasion. Thank you for your understanding and your support. Love, JJ. So, yeah, you know, pretty much a statement that he had to make, and one that is written like he had to make it, right? It's pretty clear JJ is injured, and whatever he is injured, again, it's not for the public to know, and I don't have, like I said, I have no problem with him not telling people. Performing music, honestly, that probably will get some people excited, just because they've been wanting JJ to go do music for forever now. Like, people have wanted him to go back to do music and stop boxing for a bit. So that may even get more people excited, and maybe it'll get KSI's creative juices flowing, and he may just go off and do more music. But as far as the card going ahead, I had heard some rumors that Slim was asked to fight Anthony Taylor, and he said no, which I agree with. Why? If you are preparing to fight KSI, would you then just short notice fight Anthony Taylor, who has walked through every single influencer boxer? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. No offense to Anthony. I wouldn't have done it either if I was Slim on short notice like that. Just doesn't make a lot of sense. But my final kind of thoughts on the whole injury thing is that KSI, you know, does train super hard. From what everybody has told me, from, you know, that's the people in his gym, the people outside of it, the people around him. When this injury happened isn't clear. If it was, again, before the Tommy Fury fight, you probably shouldn't have scheduled him, knowing he was still injured and knowing that the cortisone shots were not doing the trick, and hopefully having people in the camp that know that cortisone shots are not an answer continuously for a nagging injury. You do need to address the actual injury at some point, whether, you know, after the Tommy fight, before you sign this one, whatever. At this point, they're making the right decision for JJ and his health, and that no one should have any issue with that. It's unfortunate that they waited this long to say it. You know, I don't know what that was about, but it's unfortunate that this whole thing has gotten to where it's gotten. Here a month out from the card, and JJ has to pull out. But that's the fight game, you know? That's the fight game. People have to pull out if they're injured, and it is what it is. But before we get out of here, I'll just say this. Misfits, obviously, it's pretty clear, at least, you know, in the public domain and the way things have gone for them right now, they've lost some momentum. And I know, again, y'all are going to say, Wade, you know, how can you dick ride that? I'm just saying what's clear and obvious. There's some momentum that's been lost. The wind is out of the sails a little bit. How do you recover that? With KSI on the shelf and injured, how do you recover it? Who do you turn to recover it? I don't have those answers. It's unfortunate, like I said, for KSI. I hope he feels better. And whatever happens on Misfits 17 and in their future, I have no idea And again, don't have the answers, but guess we'll find out.